Saul Castañeda from MCSC Green Wheels, and I'm here at home. We ran into a problem with our master cylinder. We were setting up the master cylinder to our Hydrobooster that we have. Now we're going to be running a 96 to 98 Hydrobooster from a Cobra setup. There's a lot of people out there running the 99 to 2004 setup. So we're going to go through all of this fairly quick, and I'm going to try and take my time to mention all the fittings and to kind of let you know that we did a lot of homework going over all this and the pricing, so you guys are not out there running around like chickens without your head. But the first thing we want to attack was the first thing that would happen out there. Now, we set everything up, we ran out our lines, we did all the work, and what we ended up doing when we ended up installing our master cylinder here, we ran into an issue trying to get our third, which would be for our front brake line setup, installed. One of the problems that we saw was the port down here is a little smaller than that port down there. So when you do this master cylinder setup, that one goes to the front, splits off to this T, goes to your master, and this guy goes off to your master. I mean to your proportioning valve, and then from here we go to the line. This guy right here, being the same size, did not fit, did not work for us. Now we called LMR and we did some further research. Now LMR told us that what we were using was a GT master cylinder. So what you guys could see, the big difference here is nothing. So this is a 96 through 98 Cobra master cylinder. So if you guys look at it all the way around, there you go. There you go. Here's the trickiest part too. That says AB356. So does this. The only difference about these two master cylinders, it's just in this port and that port. The 96 through 98 Cobra master cylinder allows us to put our line in. So that was one of the corrections we wanted to do. This is all the Maximum Motorsport pre-bent line for the Coyote setup. So you could set up your stock 96, 98 master cylinder to your Hydrobooster. And what we were doing, we had, from what I did some further research with changes on this guy, this is a 95 GT master cylinder. The bore changes. It looks exactly the same. 95, 96, 98. You can see it almost looks exactly the same except for that bore. So when you guys go ahead and order this, we made the mistake and we're correcting it. Make sure you get your 96 through 98 master cylinder so you can fit your Maximum Motorsport pre-bent brake lines. So these are, they're actually just giving you the sizes here, or the years that you should be using 96 to 98 master cylinder for a 87, 93. So that pretty much just means it'll work with that proportioning valve, I'm guessing from 87 to 93. That's what that kind of means, guys. Because that proportioning valve just doesn't really change. Because as you guys know, on the GT, when you go to install that extra, your front driver brake line, it goes right into the underside of the master. That's why you got to use this little guy right here. So that's what our correction is. Moving forward onto our Hydroboost. So we picked up this from LMR. So as you guys know, there's other places that you can go to. You can go ahead and check Cardone, you can check AutoZone, O'Reilly's, or whoever you want. But we paid like about $89 for this master cylinder. And this kit right here from the Maximum Motorsports pre-bent line kit for our Hydrobooster setup was $54.99 if I'm not mistaken. So it's quite a bit of a little take right here. You got about 140, 150 bucks, man, plus shipping and handling. So be prepared for that. If you guys want to shop around, remember, just check this board. This is our 99 to 04 Cobra Hydrobooster. All right. Now we're gonna go ahead and use this on our sandbox, and that's our 86 4i. Now the reason we're gonna do that is because we're still a little skeptical about this box fitting. We see it fit, and maybe it's just a placement. Maybe we gotta bore out the holes a little bit more for this plate right here. Some things that we have to go through still. But for this setup right here, we're not gonna use the whole thing that you look all kind of crazy here. We got, for the top one right here, now remember this top one goes to your power steering setup. This goes to your power steering pump. And this right here is a 6AN, which kind of translates to what I'll do. I'll take it apart right here. There's a banjo bolt. This is a turbo water coolant banjo bolt kit, and this is a 6AN, which kind of comes out to a 3/8 line, to a M8 by 1.5 banjo bolt, and it just kind of looks like this. It's just a brace with a hole in it and a screw with a hole in it. It looks like that. All right. This top one goes to your power steering pump, like I said, and then along with that, we picked these up from Summit Racing, and this is a 6AN female entrance, and then we're going to be doing our braided line. So you'll guys be seeing that as we change up a little bit on this to give it a little bit more contrast. Now, to the rack and pinion, this is still a 6AN, which again is a 3/8 line fitting, okay? But the back of it is a M16 1.5 banjo bolt setup. Again, it's just a little smaller. Same concept, just a little smaller. Now the other thing that we had to pick up was the return, or what goes over to our reservoir or to our Y setup, which will end up being this little guy right here. Now, as you guys know, the tops here did not change. All three of these are 6AN. Again, a 3/8 line. But the bottom for this guy, this is a 5/16 by 24 turn fitting with an O-ring on it. And this is where the factory barb sat. We're not going to use that because we don't want anything sticking up. We want to do a very clean look. We're all just going to be shooting forward. That's the reason that we're doing this. We don't like to see all the lines coming in looking like Medusa's head. So what we're going to do, we're going to try and keep it as clean as possible using high pressure line that we can crimp and put inside these fittings. And that pretty much does it for our 99 to 04 Hydrobooster setup that we'll be using on our 86 sandbox, which is our 86 4-eyes, guys. Moving on, we're going to be using for the Grunt and Staff Sergeant Reckless. This is a 96 through 98 Hydrobooster, Cobra Hydrobooster. We picked this up out of Facebook Marketplace. It was $125. All right, so you could shop around and find it cheaper. I'm assuming if people are not using this, because we hear that a lot of people are using the 9904 setup. But the other thing that we did, we shopped around for these fittings right here. These high pressure fittings are very, 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 very difficult to find. As a matter of fact, we sat on pretty much everything online for months to try to find these, and these all three came in to about 75 bucks. Again, we picked these up out of eBay. We've had a couple leads, but by the time we checked it out, they were already gone. Now again, we're going to try and do and give our cars all a kind of the same but slash different look. And what we're going to do with this guy, we're going to use this fitting, and it's the same thing on Staff Sergeant Reckless that we're going to use on the Grunt. We're going to use these connectors right here, these high pressure connectors, and what we're going to go end up doing, we're going to go into a kind of a little bit more, it's going to be a little bit more detailed, and bear with me guys because it's going to take a little bit. So again, this top line right here goes to our power steering pump. The inside here is an M16 by 1.5. What we're going to be using is, of course, the bottom, the M16 by 1 with an O-ring at the bottom, and that bolts up right there. Of course, the top, we're going to still keep it the 3/8 setup, which is a 6AN connector. So we ended up doing the exact same thing, picking up a couple more from Summit Racing and a couple with some more bends. So we're going to actually try and keep this going down without having more of the lines being shown up and off the side. We're going to try and hide them, make it look real nice and professional. Now, the return one here, as you guys can tell, looks exactly like this guy, which is our power steering, which, yes, you're right. It's the exact same setup in here. It is the exact as far as the fitting, which is an M16 by 1.5 with the O-ring, and the top is a 6AN 3/8 fitting. And we got our setup. But we got these fittings came in from Indiana. They're Tech techafitstore.com, and we got these for about $6 a piece. Came out to 12 plus shipping and handling, so that's actually really good, and I'll go into that in a little bit. The back side of this guy, which this goes to your rack and pinion, it still is an M16 fitting, but as you guys can tell, it's like having the screw side up here. So there's a male entrance. We got two males with a male on top, male on bottom with a female entrance. There's a male entrance, so we had to get an M16 by 1.5 fitting as like that with a female, and that'll be an 6 AN 3/8 male. Now this one again came out of Summit Racing, and I'm just going to show you the size right there so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So that's going to be kind of our setup that we're going to be running with Sergeant Reckless, Staff Sergeant Reckless, and our grunt. So we got all this. We had to go ahead and pick all this up, get all these little pieces right here. So we picked up these guys right here for about $14, $15 for 3. You gotta go ahead and shop around. I'm pretty sure you can find them cheaper. If you can't, try not to buy them more expensive than that. So our two fittings up here, they costed us $6 a piece. Those came in again from Indiana, techafit.com, or you can go to their online store, which is Techafit Fluid Transfer Systems, and check them out. So before you guys go out and go to the Maximum Motorsport stuff, which can run you about $50-$60, just go ahead and find it locally. I'm pretty sure there's somewhere in your store or in your area that you can find these pieces right here. I just gave you the sizes. So on our 99 to 04 setup, this guy right here, which is the M18 1.5 with the 6 AN fitting in front, was $12.39, and this other banjo bolt, which is the M16 1.5 with the 6 AN setup, came out to $13.90. The little guy right here for the 5/16 by 24 with the O-ring splitter port fitting came to $8.25. And again, these other fittings we picked up again for about $15. So you guys can go ahead and put all that together, and when you go out, go ahead and start shopping around, you'll end up finding out that if you do just a little bit of this like we did, we already broke it down for you, you're probably not going to spend as much money as you would if you bought these kits. One of the biggest issues that we had, and I guess the longer that it took us to go ahead and find out, is because the more we went ahead and found out and tried to find out, like we're trying to go for Maximum Motorsport, trying to find the real cool stuff, they don't give you the sizes. So you're kind of throwing darts in the dark, and we don't know what's going on. So we went ahead and we just bought a whole bunch of things so you guys can see what we're talking about. So moving on to our rack and pinion setup, we have two things right here. We have 4 different kinds of fittings. 2 of them are exactly the same, and I'm going to go through that right now. And what I was mentioning about not being able to get the sizes from these big name companies really sucks, because I guess they just don't want you to run ahead and find it for cheaper. Here's a perfect example. We bought these set of fittings right here. Again, they're different. And then we bought these set of fittings different. These are for a rack and pinion. We picked these up again for our AGR power steering that we picked up from eBay for about $130, which if you guys go up there and look at it, those are running about from $400 to $500, man. They're very expensive, and it's the quick ratio with the 1.5 quick turning ratio, that's what we're running on our Staff Sergeant Reckless. So we need these fittings for our lines. Now we're gonna go ahead and explain why we got these from our Indiana store, techafitstore.com, and we bought these for $6 a piece along with their washers. All right, now the top one, which happens to be, we also picked these up right here, just to go in that, we picked these up from Maximum Motorsports. And now in Maximum Motorsports, that's the part number you want. All right, now if you look at it, it gives you that fitting, that 6 AN line adapter, and that is pretty much the top, the 3/8 side that we talked to you about, which is pretty much everything that's universal to the top that we just did. But what they don't tell you is the bottom side of it. And that's what's important, man. We spent a lot of time looking for this thing, going around trying to get the right number for everybody to hear, for everybody to know what it is that you're gonna do. $4.99 give or take, plus shipping and handling, which comes out to be roughly about 60 bucks. And you know, we had the biggest trouble just trying to find out the sizes. And again, it comes with the one-time use washers here and a little thing of Loctite. Now I've bought Loctite before. It is not worth 60 bucks, you know, even if it is just a kit. And from what I look at it, yeah, there you go. There's your differences. They're solid metal. They've been bored, and so are these. So I really just don't understand why they'd be so much more money. But the important part about it is that the one that's to the outlet, which is the top part of your rack and pinion, would be this guy right here, which again is a 6 AN port to a M16 bottom. Now this goes to your reservoir. This is going to be going to the Y connector to your reservoir, which it goes from pump, from your, it comes down from the Hydrobooster, from the rack and pinion, connects to the Y, heads over to the power steering that then branches off into the reservoir. The bottom connector, which is the pressure inlet, it's again 6 AN by M14 1.5. So there's your difference. One's smaller, one's bigger than the other. And again, I still don't see the purpose of paying 60 bucks. So if you know, we're going to keep universal to 3/8, and that just kept it really simple to get the rest of the fittings that we needed. And the only thing that really changed was the line that we're going to use. You can use a 6 AN, and then we're going to go and use a couple that are 8 ANs, but you'll see as we go along. And that, my friends, is what we did for you guys. So one of the other issues that we tend to get when you buy your Hydrobooster, if you get it from a used place, because I'm pretty sure that's where you're only going to find them without paying an astronomical price. We seem to find them and they come with no boot. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, behind this Hydrobooster goes a little piece of rubber and a boot that's kind of corrugated, and it covers this and as it goes into your car, right? So we tend to find these kind of, as you see, we painted this one, but they don't have that boot. And that boot to me is pretty important when it comes down to going into the firewall of your car. I want it also for number one to kind of keep the weather out of it. Number two, so I don't scratch up the paint as I lay this metal on metal. Same way they wouldn't come with a boot. You can buy them refurbished, you can buy them from LMR, but they still don't come with this boot. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make my own. Go ahead and cut this apart. I took a piece of inner tube right here, and I cut myself a little square piece with a whole bunch of measurements and just a whole bunch of lines to kind of triangulate and give me a center and everything that I'm going to do. So this one right here I'm going to use for our Hydrobooster that we're going to go ahead and slap on our 1993 notchback that we call the Grunt. The reason I'm not going to use it on this one, because this back plate changes a little bit, and not only that, we're still missing the stud here that we have to go ahead and get. But we have this back plate right here is just a little thinner and sleeker and slimmer, so we're not going to go ahead and do this one just yet, because we don't need this one just yet. What we do need is this guy. And so what I'm going to do, I just kind of took all these measurements already. Now I'm going to use this side where I wrote everything on as my firewall side, as I already put there. This side to firewall side, right? That's my top, that's my bottom, and it's going to go in like so. One of the other things to make up for that little boot, we got these guys. Now, for many of you that don't know what these are rack and pinion boots, and these came off of we got these out the eBay store. They were like $9 for the pair. They're for a Honda Civic or something very tiny as such, because that's a tiny tie rod right there coming through there. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna attempt, which I'm gonna be successful with it because I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm going to go ahead and bore a hole in the middle here, 4 holes for each screw, and then I'm going to measure our corrugated boot here to size from this position to about in here, and then I'm going to cut it a little bit more to size. I'm going to try and finagle this little hole right through here, and that's going to be fun. There we go. Alright, So now, see, this thing's gonna go somewhere around here. Trying to get that as best I can. Yeah, alright. So we're gonna follow this guy right here. But it'll do. And I think my idea would go something like this. And what I'll end up doing, I'll just put a little bead of silicone on the inside of this and apply, lay it flat somewhere just so we can get, you know, body. And there's my boot. Alright, I need them. Ta-da! See? I think I did good. Perfect. And then we're gonna have to figure out this guy right here. Alright, now it's gonna be a tough one. So we'll have to figure this out pretty good. So I think I'll just do like a little square front here, carve that out and just see if I can swing it through. I don't want to do it right here on the sides because I don't want it to split all the way down. So I'm going to do it up here. Some controlled cuts. Let's see if we can get this done. I don't want to destroy the integrity of it. I think I can dab a little bit of a, what do you call it, a little bit of WD. Damn it. Some silicone in there a little later, but right now I just kind of want to see if I can get it to open up without completely being destroyed. It's pretty thick, so I hope that that'll work. If not, the worst thing, I guess the alternative thing would end up being that I completely cut off this little front nip and go without it. I don't want to. I kind of want to keep it on there because, as you guys can tell, it's pretty thick, and it'll give it a nice little seal around it. I mean, it's on the inside of the car anyways, but still, let's give it a whirl. Perfect. And there we go. I think I did a pretty damn good job, if you ask me. Look at that. Huh? See, we could add a little silicone down. I think this is perfect. This is goddamn perfect. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. And there, my friends, you have a boot. Please, if you guys know anybody that can benefit from any of this, pass on our videos. Make sure they go out there and they check it out because we want to see those Foxbodies on the road. Next thing, guys, do us a quick favor. Subscribe. If you like what we did, if you like the content, if you could push it out there and get everybody else on the same page of taking care of their cars like we're doing it and like you're doing it, go ahead and pass this content, give us a subscription, like our video, and remember, you guys are looking for your Foxbody, go to our Facebook page, MCSC Green Wheels on Facebook. You will most definitely see that we post just about every car, but we're trying to keep up with the Foxbody community, and we post up some, you know, free stuff to some very extravagantly expensive stuff. Again, buyer beware. These are not our cars. We are just trying to help the community stay in tune and everybody get a car so we can all meet up at the meet one day. The other thing, our Instagram page, guys, get over there, check out our pictures, give us a couple likes, get us up there, all right? I want to thank everybody watching. Remember, next 2 videos are coming right up. I hope that this helped you guys. We will see you soon. Give us a couple comments if you like what you see or if we did something wrong. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.